I'm going to read to you guys a comment from one of our Addiction Mindset community members here about quitting weed. And then we're going to answer this person's question. That's the best way to do this video. It has been 8 months since I quit weed after struggling for about 3 years trying to quit. I hate to admit that after 8 months of being sober, I still miss smoking weed and getting high. My mind is telling me that I'm not an addict anymore. I can smoke once in a while and have fun. I need help or advice on this, please. Is it possible for me to smoke now just once or twice a month without having a major relapse back into addiction? This question is so important because so many people on the channel have this question, and it's a question I've asked myself as someone who's quit smoking weed a couple years ago. And the first thing that you got to consider is, have you made that mistake before? So you said you were struggling to quit smoking weed for about 3 years now. And what I'm asking you is, have you quit for a period of time before? So maybe a few weeks, a few months. And then have you told yourself, I'm just going to go back and do a little bit. And then you went back to just smoke a little bit, but then a little bit suddenly turned into a lot of bit. So what I'm asking you is, have you been in this spot before? And are you about to make a potential mistake that you've already made in the past? I can't tell you how many times, man, I've personally said, oh, I'm just going to have one more. Oh, I'm just going to smoke socially. It's not going to become an everyday thing. And every single time I tried to go and do that, I personally always wound up falling back into addiction. And, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So that would be my first question for you, because if you've made this mistake before, don't do it. It's not worth it. My second question for you would be more of a statement, I guess. Why would you want to go back? And I want you to think of the last time you smoked weed, not the first time you smoked weed, because you say, just for fun. And I get that smoking weed can be fun. I had that time in my life too when I smoked weed. But the last time you smoked weed, it must have not been so much fun, because otherwise you wouldn't have quit. If you were truly having fun, you never would have considered quitting. So what is the fun that you're describing going back to? Because based on your commentary, it sounds like you were struggling with a pretty serious THC addiction. So what is so enticing? What is so inviting about addiction or your experience with addiction that you would want to go back and revisit that? That's where I think there's some confusion. And I'm worried that that addictive voice in your brain is telling you or trying to convince you that you're missing out on something, that there was something there for you. And I just, again, think of the last time you smoked, man, not the first time you smoked, because I have a feeling there was nothing fun about it. And why would you want to go back to something that truly wasn't bringing you any amount of fun or any amount of joy? Now, you said something else really important in this comment. You said, I miss the high. And a lot of people say that when they're working with us one-on-one in our coaching and when we're speaking to people, they miss the high. They miss the feeling of being high. And I think the high is the most dangerous part of this addiction, because it's a high that comes with ease, right? It doesn't take a lot of work to rip a cart or to, pack a bowl or roll up a blunt. It doesn't take a lot of work to spark that and get high. My question to you would be is, have you found any other obsession? Have you found any other thing, any other hobby, any other motive that gives you that natural high, that gives you that dopamine rush? I get a high from making YouTube videos and working on people. I get a crazy high off of that. I get a high from exercise. I get a high from watching my bank account grow. I get a high every time I buy a new camera or a new microphone, right? have you found anything yet? Have you found that passion? Have you found that obsession that's going to give you that high that you can go after? Because if you haven't, maybe that's what you got to explore over the next few months before you go back to smoking weed. And I said the high from weed is kind of like a high, it comes too easy. When we're smoking weed and we're just getting that instant high, it leaves our brain feeling, to a small extent, somewhat satisfied. Like, boom, there's that dopamine, there's that serotonin, that was easy. Here's my high, I feel good now. I'm satisfied for the day. And I think, for me, that led to a pretty extreme amount of complacency and satisfaction in my life, when in all reality, I really wasn't satisfied with where my life was at. So are you falling for that? Are you falling for the high? This is, I describe it as kind of a cheap high. When we're talking about addiction, it's a high without integrity. It's a cheap high. There's a lot of integrity out of the high I get from helping people and making YouTube videos and stuff. And I'm not talking about people who aren't struggling with addiction, so please don't take this wrong. I'm talking about the high that comes with addiction. And I'm worried that that kind of demotivates you or derails you from chasing after those other highs that you should be or might want to be pursuing in life. Maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's a business venture, maybe it's a relationship high, maybe it's a faith-based high. But addiction and that high that we get from it, it robs us of those other highs, leaving us feeling somewhat satisfied. And then I think that's a big reason why then a lot of people fall short on the things that they actually want to accomplish in life. And I'll tell you, man, I can see that you're having a hard time with this. Here you are 8 months and you're still, kind of battling these questions. And I got a tip for you. For some people it's hard, for some people it's not, but it sounds like you're having a hard time. It's okay that this is hard. It's okay that this is challenging. And maybe some of the things that I said in here, like, challenging you to go find that legitimate high, that high that comes with integrity, that passion, that life obsession that you seek. I think it's good that that's hard, man, because when you get into it, when you go after that high, there's going to be challenges, whether it's a relationship, whether it's faith-based, whether it's business-based, whether it's financially based. I don't know, but I know it's going to come with challenges. It's going to be hard. It shouldn't be easy. And when you quit an addiction like you're doing, it's hard. Like, it can be hard. It takes work. I'm not going to lie. Like, it takes effort and it takes work and it takes passion and drive and obsession and repetition. And I think that's good, man. I don't think it's a bad thing that you're struggling, because you're enduring, you're asking questions, you're looking for resources, you're looking for tools, you're asking for help. And I think you're going to be able to apply all these tools that you got from this struggle, from this challenge of quitting weed, to other hardships in your life. And I think suddenly when you face those other hardships, instead of just curling up in a ball and getting high and becoming complacent, I think you're going to have the skills that you need to power through them. Whether you run into a business challenge or a relationship challenge, or maybe a personal struggle, a personal challenge, you're going to be able to look back and say, you know what? I did it. I overcame that 8-month struggle, that year battle with addiction. I overcame that 3-4 year battle with addiction. I did something hard and I succeeded. I accomplished it. And I think, dude, you're going to be able to apply all those things to whatever your next venture is in life. You know how addiction looks for you. You know how that story ends. Why not pursue this next chapter of your life just a little bit longer, man? Maybe you turn the corner at 12 months. Maybe you turn the corner at 2 years. Hell, that's still a whole year less than you battled with addiction. You know how addiction ends. You know the ending to that chapter. So maybe now just keep pursuing this, because I don't know how this ends for you. It might turn out to be something really, 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 really great. It might turn out to be something that you didn't expect. I never expected to sit here in front of, almost 18,000 followers on YouTube. Never could have told you that. So That's it, man. That's my best advice for you. I hope it helps you out. Why don't you follow me into my next video where I talk a little bit about weed and depression. It's a really good video, and I think it's going to apply up to a lot of people who watch this one. I'll see you guys there.